guys, it is Stephanie Ramos here in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Thank you for joining us on abcnews.com. We've got a treat for you today. Again, here in D.C. in front of Fato's Irish Pub and Restaurant, and we are going to sit down and talk to Sam Cieri, who just happens to be right there. Sam, what are you doing here? Good to see ya. So Sam Cieri is in the musical Once, and you were also in the show that toured in Dublin. Is that correct?
So
over the summer?
yeah, we were at the Olympia Theatre all summer, and right in the heart of Dublin. So it was amazing. So I went straight from the tour, had 5 days, and went to Dublin, and then back on the tour again.
Awesome. So stepping in here is kind of like a flashback to your Dublin
it's like
days.
going back home.
Oh, nice.
Back
Well,
home to Dublin.
let's go inside
Let's do
to a
it.
piece of Dublin here to talk about the show. So we were locked out there.
That would have been great. Let's go inside. Let's stand out there.
Oh, this is so awesome. It feels so authentic too and original. How does this compare to the spots in Dublin? I know you went to some.
So much cleaner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, the best pubs are the pubs that when you walk in, the wood is soaked with Guinness, or because it's been there forever. So there's been 20 bar fights, and the seats look like people have had most intense conversations about life over a pint, and they're tiny and just rich. Like, you walk in and great things have happened here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is very.
authentic.
This is like if you took 6 great little pubs and you put them all into one. Is what it looks like. Is what it feels like walking around again.
Right here in D.C. So
Yeah.
no intense fights today. You won't be witness or part of those. But we will have an intense conversation about Once. We want to hear about it. It's eight Tony Awards?
Yep, including Best Musical, and then it won the Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album, and then the song from the film won the Oscar for Falling Slowly.
And you're in it. You're the main guy. You're playing Glenn, right?
Yeah, that's really.
How is that? Because I know you spent some time in South Florida. Your family is based there. Some of your family is based there. How did you make it to land this huge role on this amazing stage, touring the world in Once?
Through an array of very odd circumstances. I was living in South Florida. I left high school to be this rock star. That didn't happen. So I just kind of putzed around Florida for a bit, and I was like a maid. I was a mechanic.
You had a couple of odd jobs.
jobs.
I read about that.
Yeah, and then through being a door guy, I ended up being a doing piano player, and then went to Vegas and did doing pianos out there, and then moved to New York to again be a musician, and played music in the subway for 3 years. Barely straight. Oh,
what was your station? What was your train station?
So the one set. So some of them you need like a license. So I did not have that. And the one stop Christopher Street going uptown was always more popular than the one going downtown. And then any F train, because the time in between the train pulling into the station and the next train coming in was around 5-6 minutes. So you could put 2 songs in.
You had it down.
Oh, I had it down to a science.
See, I'm a native New Yorker, so I spent a lot of time on the subways, standing there waiting for the train, listening to the artists that were just camped out there.
Some of them are
playing
incredible.
Incredible voices.
Some of them are insane, but some of them are incredible. Some are crazy people.
Well, you were obviously not the insane one. You're the talented one because you've made it.
Yeah, well, 3 years. I mean, 3 years down there, and I was about to get evicted from my apartment, and I made a record and nothing happened. And so I put music away, and I ended up selling motorcycles for a while in Brooklyn. Got into a really nasty motorcycle wreck. Broke my hand, I couldn't walk, and so I couldn't work. And a friend of mine got me a gig singing Jingle Bells for a Brooks Brothers commercial. And I did that.
This guy's done it all. He's done a little bit of everything. Absolutely everything. Okay, so Jingle for Brooks Brothers.
Jingle for Brooks Brothers.
Do you remember it?
I do. It was so much fun. We sat in the studio and we were there for like 4 hours. So I'm never singing Jingle Bells ever again. because I sang Jingle Bells so much, and then I did versions of it where they were like, can you make this one a little bit more like Sinatra meets Nat King Cole, or like they would say, this one needs to be a bit more magical. And then they let me do one as like, I did cartoon voices on some of them, like I did the Scooby-Doo and Shaggy version of it, and we would just do that for, and that was like a gun for hire thing, you know, I did that, and then about a month later, I was able to get an agent, and they were like, I was like, I'd love
in New York City.
Yeah, and I would love to do acting, you know, because I did it in high school and loved it, but then wanted to do music instead. And they sent me out on my first audition, which was for Rock of Ages, on a cruise line, and I got it, and I was Drew in Rock of Ages, and so I lived on a ship for 7 months, going to Bermuda every week, and that was great for about 3 months, and then the ship started getting very small, and I needed to get off of that ship.
But this is what you have to do as a performer,
oh,
right?
yeah.
You have to be ready to get out there, audition for anything, take any job until the one that you really want, the one that you've really been waiting for, just not lands on your lap because you worked hard for it, but comes your way.
You say, and I've realized this with most of the things that most of the things that have happened in my life that have been good have come from the ability to not think too much about it and just go, yeah, and realize that you have zero control in anything. That you can plan to be, in this business, you can plan to be successful all you want, but the success usually comes out of an odd array of circumstances, and you just have to be the kind of person that goes, okay, you know, and so it was coming towards the end of Rock of Ages, my agent called me, like, what do you want to do next? I was like, I think I'd be a good fit for a show like once. And I remember saying, I was like, I'd never seen it, but I thought that I would fit into that, and I could do the music, and the story was beautiful. And they were like, well, the tour's already happening, like it's not, and then it was a couple weeks later, they called me, they're like, nope, they're doing the tour again, and they're casting. And so my first auditions for once were, I was in a ship, so I'm auditioning for this show, and everything, we were in a storm when we filmed it, so everything in the background of the audition tape is swaying from side to side, and I'm trying to not lose my balance while I'm auditioning for this show. And then for the final audition, I had to go to New York, but I was in Bermuda, so I had to get like a 5 a.m. flight into New York. I went straight from the airport to the audition and botched it. Just completely. I was so tired, my fingers wouldn't work. And then Martin Logan did the music, comes out and he goes, go home, come back tomorrow, you know, and try it again. So I did.
And that's because they saw something in you. They're like, you know what, this guy's tired. You know, he can do it. Get out of here. Come back.
Yeah, come back when you're a little clearer.
Right. I could talk to you here for hours. Let's take a seat and tell us more about
ready for that.
Come over here. What is this? Is this you?
Oh, yeah, that is me. This is me.
His music needed one thing. Her. Oh, I love it.
Look at Mackenzie. See? Look at this. It's so easy to fall in love with this girl.
No.
She's fantastic. But my hair looked a little more luxurious then. I also looked like 10 years younger.
So, hey Charles, how's it going?
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
It's glad y'all came by to say hello. Sam, always a pleasure to see you.
Good to see you too.
I wish you'd come back and see us more often, but now that you're in town, we're glad that you swung by and say hello.
I just have too much Guinness right now.
Fair enough.
So much Guinness.
Fair enough.
The show is here. He'll pop in.
Oh, every night.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
So tell us about that. You're touring with Lines. Tell us about the show. Give us the storyline. And I understand that give us the rundown. And I know you've actually met the folks that the story is based on.
Yeah. So it's an original story. The movie, John Carney had this fantastic idea about following a busker and meeting a girl, and he wrote this beautiful story. And originally, the actor Cillian Murphy was supposed to play the guy, which is always a fun little fact that I found out over the summer. The guy from Peaky Blinders, amazing Irish actor, but he was like, I think he felt a lot of self-consciousness with the music, and didn't think that he could do it justice, or because Glenn's music it's a big, to be able to handle that music is a lot. And so John reached out to Glenn and was like, why don't you and Marquetta play the parts? And Glenn was like, I'm not an actor. actor. You know, Marquette's not actors. So what they ended up doing was there was this whole script that they had, threw it out the window because they really wanted to focus on the magic of them and the simplicity of them just playing. So when you watch the movie, they don't say a lot because they wanted to really hone in on the unspoken simplicity of the two of them. So yeah, I had the immense pleasure of meeting Glenn and having a drink with him, and he's a huge hero for me. The frames are a band I really love. And that's what got me to watch the movie. So when you meet your hero, you always want something really great to happen. Like you want him to throw an arm around and be like, let's go in the corner and talk about life. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, when I walked into the bar and he was standing there, and I walked right past him, went straight to the bar and had a couple shots because I couldn't handle just going up and saying hi to him. But he is one of the nicest, most generous human beings, and just sit and talk forever just about music and the show, and gave me the full once saga run around, you know, and kind of filled me in on all the stuff that I love about, like the fact that the casting and everything and all that, the little stuff that happened behind the scenes, and his involvement in the show, and when the involvement ended, and bringing John Tiffany in and bringing Enda Walsh in, who wrote the book, and I was able to talk with Enda about the story and, you know, tell him how brilliant he is, and me and John were able to talk about the show. And so being there, I got to meet everyone that is in that world, in the world of words, and I think
real world too.
The real world, yeah, and the people that, I mean, they made it. They created. These are the people that have built the last year of my life, you know, and the next year of my life. And it's a beautiful way to spend your time is with this show, and kind of taking it apart.
Now you're playing Glenn. You're playing. Did he have any specific pointers for you going into this?
No. He came, he saw the show, and the first thing he said to me was fair play, which is always a great thing to hear from an Irishman. That's like, good job. And then he said, and this will stick to me as being the best thing I've ever heard. He goes, and it was great. It's like hearing Jeff Buckley sing my songs, and my chest went, and I put out the outside. I was like, thanks, man. But on the inside, I was like, yeah, and it's. I only watched the movie once before. To the amount of puns that we have on the road.
I bet.
So we don't acknowledge them anymore. So someone goes, yeah, once.
I did that once.
Just go past it. And there's always someone that goes, you guys should do a sequel. We call it Twice. The first time I heard that, I was like, no, that's amazing. And then by like the 40th time, you're like, yes, we should.
Yep.
Yes, we should.
Heard that one.
Yeah, I wanted to bring something different to the character, and the fact that I had a lot of parallels with the character. I felt like if I tried to do anything Glenn did, or anything that Z did, or anything that I'd seen, it wouldn't do it justice, because the part is very much, the show itself is based on the actors. They try, and when we rehearse the show, it's very different than any other production you'll see. That production is specific to those actors and those people. So Sean Peckneck directed this tour and also directed us in Dublin. And he's a gorgeous man, and I love him to death. And he really we would sit, and one of my favorite things about him is you go up and you go, so I don't know what I'm doing here, I don't know what this thing is, what is this moment? And he does this amazing thing where he goes, I don't know, you tell me. And he lets you, like, he has this master plan in his head, but he makes you get there, so you make the decisions, you know, and of course he guides you there, but
you bring a little bit of yourself into
a lot of
role.
yourself. A lot of yourself. I mean, the first thing they say to us when we got these parts is, he goes, you are God, you are, you know, that's you are these people. That's why you were cast, because they say when someone comes into audition for the show, they either know that they are a girl or they're not a girl. They are a guy or they're not a guy, and it's an instant thing. And I mean the show we did in Dublin is nothing like the show we're doing now.
Really?
And it's the same
Same
show.
cast?
No, completely different cast. So the reason I went over there is Tom Parsons, who played Guy in the Australian production and in Double Matched Here, I think he was doing a different show. So they were looking around for someone to replace him as Guy, and Sean, being the director, was like, the guy that I had on the tour, he should come over. So I was kind of individually plucked over, and that was intimidating too. You're going into a cast that had already done the show, and to be injected into this show is very shaky, because like I said, it's very based around the people. So if they're already in this cohesive unit, to bring yourself into it, it's not like a show like a big show like Wicked or Lion King, where they're tracks and they're set, and you can kind of pick people up and put them back down, and they have to do exactly what the last person did, and it's a very specific thing. This is me coming into the cast in Dublin changed the entire way that show worked, and me going off of Megan Reardon, who played Dora over there, is very different from Mackenzie, who plays Dora here, and that changed night and day the type of guy that I was. It required different things. But that's the great part about the show, is that I've done it now, the first leg, Dublin, and then this the second leg, and in my mind I've done 3 different shows. This is my 3rd production of once, and it's a completely different show.
Yeah. I believe how that can happen. It just feels different.
Yeah.
Well, so here we are at Fados.
Yes.
We have some drinks for you. This way you can compare them to what you probably had in Dublin.
Oh, no.
We have to. We're in an Irish pub, why not, right? I'm not 21 yet, so I'll have water.
Okay. That's fair.
But I will stick with it.
Well, what I do have, since we are as authentic of an Irish pub as you can be, he'll tell you a little bit about the club soda that's very popular in Ireland.
I remember the cans, and it's funny.
So it does. It's fairly popular, and it was definitely really popular a few years ago. But we make sure that we keep them on hand, just in case you're not in the mood for a whiskey or a beer.
Yeah.
Well, you can still feel Irish when you walk in the door.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for this. So, Sam, what will you be having?
Guinness.
There you go.
I mean, it's Guinness is. I was never a Guinness drinker really before going to Dublin, and then we did a show at the Gravity Bar in the Dublin in the Guinness storehouse, or at the factory, the brewery, and so we did the show, and then they gave us a tour and taught us how to pour like the perfect pint, and like I got a certificate and everything. See,
That looks legit.
you gotta let that stuff settle.
Well, he's going to test me on my pint pouring skills, and I feel confident.
Yeah.
How does it compare?
I'm gonna let it. No, it's see.
So you have to
the
wait
perfect,
for what?
a perfect pour. That's like the top you want. You don't want it at the glass. It just goes right over the glass.
They call it a
looks
proud
great.
pint.
A proud pint.
Look at that.
It's pretty.
There's no other alcoholic beverage that looks as pretty in a glass than a Guinness. And then, okay, so this is a pop quiz.
Okay.
What color is Guinness?
It's like a mocha, like a cafe mocha. I don't want to say brown.
Dark ruby.
Dark ruby?
Dark ruby.
Well, I can see the bottom
Yeah.
is a little darker than
So it's a dark ruby red. That's what it is.
red.
I answered that question in the trivia at the Guinness Storehouse, and was given a small little thing of Guinness. I wasn't given anything else, but I was so proud of myself because I read it on a sign and remembered. All right.
Cheers.
Ready? Cheers.
Club soda. Not bad. Your Guinness.
Is it good? All right.
It's legit. It's legit.
See, it just tastes like there's nothing sweet to me. Because I mean, there was a pub right next door to the theater called Brogan's, and it's this very 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 old pub, and that's where we went at the end of the show. You'd have like Phelan, Luke, and Billy over there, and you'd go like, let's go get a couple jars, and we'd go next door and just sit back, have a couple pints, and it became like this amazing ritual to end a night, you know? Unless it was Saturday, and Saturday was my Thai night. So like, I love Thai food. Thai food's amazing. Like a good pad Thai, can't get past that. There's this amazing, so the food over in Dublin is incredible. Like all the restaurants.
And they had Thai.
And they had this great Thai place right next to my apartment. But it closed at 11 on the weekends. Our show got out at 10:30.
Ooh.
So they have Dublin
over
bikes there, which is like bikes that they have all throughout the city, and that's how I got everywhere. So I would run out the door on Saturday nights and jump on a bike and just go as hard as like try and get back so I could get. And then if I got there, like I earned it. I earned a big old box of Thai food, and I would proudly eat it in my apartment and watch Stranger Things.
Well, that is awesome. What an experience.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So, this is my first time here actually at Fados. Charles, tell us a little bit about the pub here. It's like we were saying when we first walked in here, it's got that authentic feel, very original. Tell us a little bit about the history of this pub.
So the history, Fido in Gaelic means long, long ago. So if they were to start a story that in Gaelic, they'd start the story. Fido, Fido, long, long ago. Each pub tells a little different story of the history of pubs and how they've come up through creation. We've been here for 19 years, March 17th, 2017. So on St. Patrick's Day, we will turn 19. We are in Chinatown, right in this part of Washington, D.C. So you have an Irish pub in Washington, D.C. in Chinatown.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're very unique that way. Yes. When Abe Poland came and built the Verizon Center across the street, Fido was one of the first restaurants that were here. We, like I said, we tell the story as you walk through the pub. There are different rooms. We are in our library room, which if you're behind me, you can see that there's a bunch of books up in the shelves and so forth. There are murals of Irish authors. And you'll walk your way through the pub and there's some different things that, you know, we kind of tell the story. And that is our Fido story. It originated in Atlanta.
I love it. Very authentic. I love the decor. I totally use that whole setup of my house. Like a Fido room. Very nice. Thanks for welcoming us in
You're
here.
very, very
This chat. But it's very nice. And Sam, thank you so much for joining us at the show. We are so looking forward to having Once musical here in DC at the National Theater.
We're ready to be here.
The day after Thanksgiving.
So
right?
we're here 25th, 26th, 27th, and then gone.
Gone where? Where do you guys take off to? Do you know?
It's a very big tour. I mean, we're doing 89 cities.
89 cities.
So there's a certain point where you have to not know where you're going, and then it's great. You show up places, and you're like, hey, so this is Des Moines, you know, and it's fantastic. And you get to see parts of the country that I didn't know exist. I mean, I've been to a place. I've been to Kalamazoo. I thought that was made up. I didn't know that was a real place. And I got there, and they have a trampoline gym. And So it's good development.
And you're sharing this beautiful story of wines to the country and the world. Thanks so much. And with us today on abcnews.com. So again, thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you.
I will see the show when you're in town. I cannot wait. I will tweet about it. And thank you all for joining us. Next time. See you next time.